I've got my first 24th scale buggy. This is the Maverick Microbe from HPI. This thing is so small, it pretty much fits in my hand. So this is basically HPI's answer to the Losi Micro B and the Hobby Plus Spec B. Now they are all very similar, but there are differences between them. I don't have the Losi Micro B or the Spec B yet, but if you look online, you can have a look and see all the differences between like the chassis and the shock mounts and stuff like that. Quick look at the specs on the box. You can see we've got a 0-30-63 turn brush motor. You've got an all-in-one ESC receiver. And I don't know what this typo is over here, an aluminum chassis. Aluminium chassis that would be. That's one for my friends across the pond. So there we can see that aluminium chassis. It's got tapered edges and it's nice to see that everything is using hex hardware. I actually really like the look of this one with the body and the spoiler and everything. I think they've done a really good job with this. Now out of the box you don't have all the stickers on there. I've added those on. And there are some stickers left over from the little sticker sheet that comes included. What's also nice with this as well is you actually get a clear spoiler. So if you did want to paint the spoiler a different color, maybe your own livery and stuff like that, you can do so. You also get a spare gear set in there as well. I'm not sure if it is a different number of turns or anything like that. If you know, then let us know in the comments. You get a Flysky MG2 transmitter. So this is a 2-channel transmitter. You know, it's a nice size for the hand, especially for something this small. And you've got all the usual stuff on there, like, you know, your throttle trim, your dual rate adjustment, your dip switches and stuff like that. And this one will take 4 AA batteries. You also get a trusty wheel wrench tool. You get a 2-amp USB charger for charging the included battery. You also get a little technical guide that has like technical diagrams and stuff like that. And you get a little quick start guide and your little guarantee information. So one of the things I quite like about this one is the body. So it's basically Velcroed on. So what you do is you just basically pull the Velcro out to the side and then you just shimmy the body off. You can see it's a fairly sturdy body considering how thin it is. So with the body off, we can see everything going on underneath. So we've got our little 0-30 size motor at the back. We've got our gearbox. We've got our all-in-one ESC receiver. Your steering servo just sits under here, and you can see it's also got a servo saver. It's actually a 0.85 kilogram steering servo, which I think is pretty good for something this small. Now, another thing that's pretty cool about this is the battery actually sits underneath the ESC receiver, and you've got these little tabs that you basically pull down on either side, and then what you can actually do is lift off the ESC receiver, and then we can just pop the battery out. And the battery that comes included is a little 350 milliamp hour 2S Lipo. I do think that's a pretty cool design, and obviously it means the battery is sitting nice and low on the chassis as well. Now, another thing you might have noticed as well is we do actually have a spare port here coming off the ESC and the receiver. Now, I believe this has 2 purposes. One, I think if you are racing these, you could attach, was it like a little strobe, I think it is, for when you're doing laps to keep track of how many laps you've done. But I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe it's also there to allow you to upgrade to brushless, because you have this plate here sitting on top of the steering servo. And I believe you could mount like your little strobe thing, although I have no idea about those because I've never raced. But you could then mount your brushless ESC on here. You could connect it to the ESC and receiver to then allow you to use the stock radio gear. And then you could swap out the motor for a little brushless motor. I do believe HPI, Hobby Plus, I'm not sure about Losi, but I believe they are going to be bringing out brushless systems to these if they haven't already. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I just think that is what it's going to be for. And if so, I think that's really cool, because that way then you don't have to change all the radio gear. You know, it's going to make it much cheaper and easier to upgrade these things to brushless. So looking at the chassis, we've actually got independent suspension on the front and the rear. We've actually got oil-filled shocks, and they actually look really nice to me. You've got some nice damping on there. You know, if you push it down hard enough, it will bottom out. So the shocks are all like plastic oil-filled shocks, but they are adjustable, so you could mess around with the ride height and tune it and stuff like that to your liking, which I think is cool. It doesn't look like there's any adjustment on the toe of the camber. They look like fixed length links, but I would imagine they'll probably release some option parts, so then you could actually adjust the toe and the camber if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can see that all the bracing and everything's plastic. The shock towers are plastic. The shocks are plastic. All of the suspension arms and everything are all plastic as well. So the wheels off, you've actually got a 7mm hex on there. And if we just pop that off, you can see we are actually running metal ball bearings throughout as well, which is nice. Now, it is just rear wheel drive, and you can see we've got little steel drive shafts there with steel cups going into the rear differential. And you can see it is an open differential as well. So for your wheels and tyres, you've got these little plastic wheels. Your tyres are glued on. It kind of feels like there might be foams in there, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so let's see what this thing's like. So basically just plug your battery into the side over here, and then your power switch is just on the ESC bar there. So just press it once. So the steering, we've actually got quite a decent amount of lock there, and that is with the dual rate turned up all the way. And if I just stick it down just to show you what the steering, how fast it is, you can see it's got some speed in it, to be fair. Right, let's see what this little motor's like, shall we? You can see it kind of sounds like, I'm not sure if we've got metal gears in the gearbox. It kind of sounds like we have. Let's just pop it on the desk a minute and just see what it's like if we feather the throttle. So ESC's a bit whiny. And then I think we are, there we go, we're forward brake reverse. I'm wiping everything out. We're forward brake reverse at the box. Now, I'm guessing for racing, you'd want to keep it forward brake reverse, but if you do want to change it, just move dip switch 1 up to the top, and then we can go just forward reverse. And if you're like me, you just destroy your desk at the same time. Right, I reckon let's get the body on, get this thing outside and give it a little rip, shall we? Okay, now I appreciate a skate park isn't normally where you bring this, but I haven't really got many smooth surfaces that I can rip around, so skate park is where we're going to run it. Let's see how fast this little thing is, shall we? Oh, nice. Good brakes as well. That's pretty nimble. It's definitely got some go in it. Let's try a little hop over here, shall we? Oh, that's so cool. And we can just whiz in and out of things like we're racing. It's got a good turning circle on it. Oh, nice. Turns nicely if you brake. I mean, like I said, this is completely new to me. This isn't the type of thing I would normally be doing. Nice. See if I'll do some donuts, shall we? Let's see what it's like off-road, shall we? Definitely turns well when you're off-road. His suspension's working pretty well, to be fair, look. Oh, small scale life. Oh. Yeah, you definitely would be running something like this in like an indoor course, don't you? It's definitely struggling outside. Especially being rear-wheel drive. Well, it's a nippy little thing, isn't it? Now, I'm not going to pretend to tell you whether it's good or bad, because I honestly have no clue when it comes to buggy racing. Closest I've got to something like this is my old Tamiya Grasshopper and my Tamiya Hornet. You know, what I will say is for its size, it seemed to have plenty of go in it. I like the suspension movement. It seemed nice and agile. You know, we were able to weave in and out of the bars and stuff like that. I could see how if you had a bunch of these and a proper race course set up, that you could have a really cool time. Unfortunately, where I live, there's not really any cool racetracks or anything like that. You know, if you want sheep, hills or trees, we got you covered. Otherwise, there's not much else. Now, if you are an experienced buggy racer or you happen to have this and the offerings from Hobby Plus and Losi, then let us know in the comments, you know, what you think of it in its performance. Now, if you are interested in getting one, A-Main have it on their website for $99. Model Sport in the UK have it on their website for £89. I don't think it's due into stock until like the 17th of December. Massive shout out to HPI for sending this over to me. You know, it's really nice to try different models and stuff like that. And hopefully as I get more and more experience with, you know, different types of RCs, I can actually give you some constructive feedback, not just say it looks cool. Apologies, this wasn't the most exciting video and I didn't manage to get much running footage with it to show you what it was like. Hopefully you still enjoyed the video though. Drop me a comment if you've got any questions. Thank you very much for watching and we will see you on the next one.